Ladies and gentlemen, well, the internet gone crazy over this one flyer that Prophetess Daniella Smith Wright put up about a conference she's having entitled Ruth and Boaz. Now, she invited Grace Hamilton, also known as Spice, to be a guest at this conference. The internet gone crazy. YouTube gone crazy. Facebook gone crazy. Instagram gone crazy. TikTok gone crazy. Preachers going crazy. Sinners going crazy. Saved people going crazy. Prophetess prophesying. Non-prophetess prophesying. And everybody has something to say about it. Spice spoke out about it. So now here is Prophetess Daniella Smith Wright. Here is what she has to say about the flyer and the conference. Please listen.
You have an event coming up, but I'm not seeing the flyer on your page.
Right.
So we're not quite sure if that event is still upcoming.
It is.
Yes. Okay.
It is.
What is happening with that? Because it has sparked a holy war on social
holy
media.
war.
I'm a holy war, man. You know me. Like, it's a holy war. And it was the Ruth and Boaz
It is
conference.
the Ruth and Boaz.
And you've gotten a lot of backlash
Man.
as it relates to Spice being a featured speaker.
Let me sit down properly.
Yeah, man, sitting properly, man. Yeah, I
I
understand.
gotta talk about it.
So on the flyer that's on our screen right now, it's initially 4 other speakers.
Right.
Yourself with 4 other persons. Who are the other persons who are a part of the conference?
Well, before I pursue with answering, no, the flyer was posted, but the flyer was incomplete.
Okay.
And the person who made the flyer would have eventually understand that I would have spoken to her and I said, just put together something because the time would have catching up on us because as you could see, we're in May.
Yes.
And the conference would have been in June.
Okay.
And when I realized the time and then I would have to leave the island because within the time when the flyer released, I was leaving the island. So the person time frame and my time frame would have been different. So I tell the person that work with the person's picture that you have now, and then afterwards we would have updated the flyer with the other gospel artists.
Oh.
Now Mrs. Grace Hamilton is on the flyer and many persons would have run with the flyer without asking Prophetess Daniella Smith Wright what is the vision behind it. Now in our today's society we could realize that a lot of females are hurting and the conference was underlined women. And what I wanted to do was to hear the voice, the cry of different women in our today's society and not only in the church. Because if we could go into the church, you would have a lot of females who got pregnant and fell out of church and they lost value, they lost their standard, they lost their morals and they don't know how to get back up and find their way back to church. And while Miss Grace Hamilton was there is to showcase the type of woman that will be at the conference. So it doesn't matter who you are, you can come to the conference and even learn something from the conference. So that was the reason why her picture was also there.
All right. So who were the other 2 persons again?
Mrs. Grace Hamilton.
Yes.
You have Jodie and Pantry, you have Pastor Vivian Robinson, you also have John Ross, you also have Minister Danica Chambers, as well as
Prophetess Sheena Lynn Hansen.
Prophetess Gina Lynn Anson, and there is a lot of more gospel artists.
Okay, so we're gonna be having it's a conference, concert, everything in one.
Everything.
And you
Right.
want to highlight women.
Women, but also baptism will be taking place.
All
So
right.
lives will be
So it's a
saved.
women empowerment conference.
No, at first I wanted a sit down conference
Okay.
where I could have socialized with women. But now it has taken the walls of the internet, and it has taken the walls of many different countries and platforms. So let's have church.
Okay.
Just
So
let us
church
have
are
church.
keeping.
Let's have church.
All right. So for clarity now, since it has been transformed into
Right.
a bigger event,
Right.
so you keep church basically.
We're keeping church.
So Grace Hamilton is on this event as what?
Okay, so it still underlines woman because it does not change the name from Ruth and Boaz.
Right.
So it's still empowering women.
Okay. So she's on it. She will be there doing
Yes.
a motivational message.
Well,
or
that's
will she be on
where.
the platform or no?
Okay, so let me explain
All
something.
right.
Now, a lot of persons misunderstand this flyer so much to a point where I was broken. Because nobody took up the phone and called Daniella. And the reason why Mrs. Grace Hamilton was on the flyer, I explained previously, right? Now, I did not at any point come on my platform and said that she was coming there to preach.
Okay.
I've never said that.
Yeah.
But the reason why she was on the flyer was to let everybody know that it doesn't matter who you are, you can still be there. As well as it shows to say that the type of woman that will be in the gathering.
So it's she was there to show that she will be present.
Exactly.
And that it's an event for everybody.
Everybody.
Okay, so at no point, because to be honest, I am not really much on the TikTok app, and based on what I've heard, a lot of the backlash has come from that app in particular. So just to clarify, there was nothing indicating on the flyer that she's going to be a speaker.
Exactly.
Okay. Now, based on the backlash that you've received, have you said anything after that, post the backlash that, hey guys, she is a guest, not a speaker, not a performer?
Nothing. One thing I always tell myself is this: the truth it does not need no defense. And one thing I will always tell person is that whatever you put on the internet, you cannot take it back. And therefore, I am glad that the misunderstanding took place, because it allows me to see where I stand in Christendom. It allows me to see where I know the work needs to take place. Because if anybody knows Prophetess, I'm for the people, I'm for the souls. I'm going after what God has me to do and what I'm called to do. So what is at hand now, I'm going for souls.
Yeah. Based on what I saw, because unlike Kareem, I'm on the TikTok app and I scroll there every day. So based on what I saw, there was a lot of backlash coming from the wider public, but specifically from Christian influencers, if you want to call them that, or persons who portray a life of Christianity on the app. How did you feel when you saw the criticism coming from within the kingdom, especially because of the fact that you stated that nobody actually called you to clarify before hurling those criticisms?
Broken. Broken. When I said broken, I cried. You know why I cried? It goes to show that there's no love within the walls of the church. And it put me back in a place where, it just put me back in a place, what do you leave the sinners to ask the church? And all I will say is, I'm blessed. And I thank God for my pastor. I thank God for the persons who had prayed for me within that time.
No, this is my take. I'm going to ask you a question after.
Right.
Yeah, I remember having this discourse, and I was in defense of Spice being on the flyer, by the way. Grace Hamilton, Spice being on the flyer. And I remember saying to somebody, firstly, we don't know if whatever capacity Spice is going to be there at the conference, right? We don't know if it is that she is going to be a speaker. We don't know if it is that we don't know what the discourse is going to be about and what her speech, what her delivery will be on, yes? Because it could be that she's going to be talking about, somebody having such strong faith and still being, 1 foot in, 1 foot out, so to speak, right? And I remember the person saying to me, yes, but then you can't, or Christians should not allow persons like these on a platform when there are so many persons within the kingdom that could have been used. My thing is this, and what if Spice was a speaker in the conference? Would you still have second thoughts based on what you've seen?
No. One thing anybody would have known, if you have known Prophetess Wright, I condemn nobody. And God can use anybody. And that's why I said before, nobody called to find out what the vision is. And nobody called to find out the truth behind the flyer. I did not come on social media or any of my platform to state that Mrs. Grace Hamilton will be preaching. So the narrative of the entire flyer is that people had a misunderstanding of what was taking place.
I think I saw one of the spiritual influencers, as they call them, Nora. And he was very respectful. That's the only one that I saw.
Yeah.
Because it was sent to me by my producer. He was very respectful, I think, in what he was saying. However, I was conflicted about some of. Now, I am somebody, I'm very religious, contrary to popular belief. Grew up in a church, was baptized multiple times. But I also think a lot of the reasons outsiders, kind of shun the church a little bit is because of some of the discourse that's been happening on social media with the inclusion of Spice. Again, if you've never said she's going to be a part of the conference as A, B, C, D, E, F, G, me I try to understand then what's the uproar. If she's just on a flyer that she'll be in attendance, that she's a guest, and you've never explained or expounded the capacity in which she will be a part of this conference, then why is the kingdom so in uproar? That these should be the same people who should be welcoming quote-unquote sinners with opening arms. They should be happy that Spice is willing to be a part of a gospel conference. But again, that's their views and that's what they have to say about it.